Let's dive headfirst into the best heroes for climbing the ranks in Season 36. We're breaking it all down, official stats, pro player insights, and the latest patch updates to give you the ultimate cheat sheet for victory. Plus, we've got top tier recommendations on core items, emblems, talents, and battle spells so you can crush your opponents and flex on them while you're at it. Gatotkacha is basically the guy who refuses to go down no matter how much you hit him. His passive skill, Steel Bones, turns him into an absolute tanky menace, giving him extra physical defense as his HP drops, which is just unfair at times. The lower his health, the harder he is to kill, like a boss fight that gets stronger the more you damage it. On top of that, his rage mechanic jacks up his basic attacks, letting him slap enemies around with some serious sustain. And let's not forget his ultimate, a massive knock-up and AoE pull that turns enemy formations into a chaotic mess. 1 second, they're strategizing, the next, they're scattered like popcorn in a microwave. Hylos is basically that one unkillable boss you fight at the start of a game and think, wait, am I even supposed to win this? His passive skill, Thickened Blood, not only beefs up his HP, but also lets him burn health instead of mana, because who needs a blue bar when you've got raw durability, right? On top of that, the more mana he stacks, the tankier he gets, making him a walking fortress. His Ring of Punishment is like an annoying background process that never stops running, constantly slowing and damaging enemies just by existing. If you're up against Hylos in the early game, just accept that you'll be in for a very, very bad time. Glue's ultimate is what truly sets him apart. It basically turns him into an annoying, unkillable blob of doom. He splits into multiple little globs, gains bonus movement speed, regenerates HP like he's got a built-in cheat code, and deals constant damage just by touching enemies every quarter of a second. His passive skill, Stick, makes things even worse for his opponents by slowing them and stacking up debuffs. And once those stacks hit max, boom! Glue literally latches onto an enemy hero like a clingy ex, stealing 25% of his HP back and redirecting 80% of the damage he takes straight to his unfortunate host. But fair warning, turrets don't care about your life choices, so if you try diving in with his ultimate, you're on your own. Belric is basically that one guy who takes a hit and immediately hits back, whether you like it or not. His passive not only lets him dish out counterattacks like a spiky porcupine, but also stacks bonus HP from items, turning him into an absolute unit of a tank. This makes him the perfect frontline punching bag, except he punches back. And then there's his ultimate, Wrath of Dryad, a massive AoE taunt that forces enemies to attack him while slowing them down. It's like making your enemies willingly walk into a trap while your team casually mops them up. Pure chaos. Pure Belric. Edith is basically what happens when a tank and a marksman have an identity crisis, but in the best way possible. She rolls into battle inside her giant mecha Phylax, soaking up damage like a champ and jumping straight into fights like she's got something to prove. But the real fun begins when she ejects from Phylax with her ultimate, transforming from a bulky frontline bruiser into a long-range menace with boosted attack speed, lifesteal, and juiced up skills. 1 second, she's eating damage for breakfast, the next, she's dishing it out like an all-you-can-shoot buffet. Edith doesn't pick a role, she takes both. Granger isn't your typical marksman. He doesn't just shoot, he orchestrates destruction. His kit is like a perfectly timed symphony of bullets, allowing him to cast, pause, and recast his skills with style. His first skill, Rhapsody, lets him fire up to 6 shots, either until he runs out of ammo or decides to cut the concert short. And then there's his ultimate, Death Sonata, basically a long-range sniper concert where each shot slaps harder than your Wi-Fi bill. When combined, these skills turn Granger into an outplay machine, shredding even the tankiest enemies with a mix of calculated precision and pure chaos. Irithyll isn't just a marksman, she's a mobile turret riding a giant cat. Thanks to her passive, Jungle Heart, she can rain down non-stop damage while moving, making her one of the best kiting heroes in the game. Her second skill, Force of the Queen, lets her cat roar like it just stepped on a Lego, damaging and slowing enemies in the area, perfect for setting up kills or making a stylish escape. And then there's her ultimate, Heavy Crossbow, which turns her into a walking machine gun, boosting her movement speed and damage output as she leaps forward like she's in an action movie. With this deadly combo of mobility, firepower, and feline fury, Irithyll doesn't just fight, she hunts. Mia has been making a serious comeback, and it's easy to see why. She basically turns into a one-woman machine gun with moon-powered arrows. Her passive, Moon Blessing, cranks up her attack speed with every basic attack, and once fully stacked, she summons a Moonlight Shadow to slap enemies even harder. Combine that with her first skill, Moon Arrow, which lets her fire extra projectiles, and she's basically raining arrows like Legolas on caffeine. Her ultimate not only makes her vanish like your ranked teammates after a bad game, but also cleanses debuffs, perfect for escaping sticky situations. Just be careful in the early game though, because Mia without farm is like a bow without arrows. Completely useless. Melissa is an absolute menace in the lane, like that one mosquito that just won't leave you alone. Her second skill lets her yeet Muddles, her creepy yet effective doll, into a target area, dealing bonus damage to anyone unlucky enough to be inside its range. If things get dicey, she's got a quick dash with her first skill that not only helps her escape, but also cranks up her attack speed. Because why not make her even more annoying, right? And just when enemies think they can finally close in, her ultimate slaps down a giant nope dome, shoving them back and giving her all the space she needs to keep peppering them with attacks. One is basically a hyperactive ninja with a crossbow. Blink, you miss her, and then boom, you're already dead. Her insane mobility lets her dance around enemies like they're moving in slow motion, all while dishing out ridiculous amounts of damage. Her ultimate? Pure chaos. What can I say? Not only does it make her untouchable for a few seconds, but it also turns her into a rapid-fire machine, unloading a flurry of attacks that just keep going if she secures a takedown. If you're vibing with this content, smash that like button, share it with your squad, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Sun has been going absolutely bananas lately. Literally. His passive, Simeon God, shreds enemy defenses by up to 30%, turning even the tankiest heroes into paper mache. And since he gains stacks every time he lands a hit, it gets even crazier when you factor in his army of doppelgangers. These clones don't just make him harder to kill, they multiply his damage output like a buy one get free deal. If left unchecked, Sun can single-handedly dismantle an entire base before the enemy team even realizes what's happening. Julian's got that main character energy, with a skill set that dishes out massive damage while keeping enemies in check. His passive cranks up his abilities, making them hit harder and slap some extra crowd control on top. Because why not? With insane burst potential and game-changing disruption, he can flip a losing fight in an instant. But don't get too cocky. Mastering his kit takes practice. Once you've got it down though, you'll be styling on opponents like it's a highlight reel. But Dong is basically the guy who never skips arm day, except instead of lifting weights, he's launching enemies into walls. Every one of his skills comes with a built-in sit down and stay there effect, making him a nightmare in duels and teamfights. If he catches you slipping, expect a one-way ticket to Stunlock City, where the only escape is the respawn timer. Lucas isn't just a fighter, he's a relentless beast who refuses to let his enemies breathe. His passive, Hero's Resolve, ensures his energy bar is always topped up, so he never runs out of gas when chasing down his next victim. His first skill, Flash Combo, turns his basic attacks into a progressively angrier beatdown, stacking up power until he delivers a knockout stun. Need to close the gap? His second skill, Flash Step, lets him dash in style while juicing up his attack range, speed, and movement like he just downed an energy drink. And when things get serious, his ultimate, Unleash the Beast, does exactly what it says, transforming him into an absolute monster with insane speed and buffed up stats. Once he's in this form, good luck running away, because Lucas will find you. Cece isn't your typical brawler. She's a relentless, fast-talking whirlwind of pain who refuses to stand still. Thanks to her insane kiting skills and surprisingly long reach, she can outbox most melee fighters before they even realize what's happening. Imagine trying to land a punch on a fly that hits back twice as hard. That's fighting Cece. Her mobility lets her dance around enemies while dishing out non-stop damage, making her a nightmare in 1v1s. Give her the right positioning and she'll be zipping around the battlefield like she's dodging rent payments. Completely unstoppable. Jushin Jushin isn't your typical bursty mage. She's the queen of sustained damage and battlefield control. She makes sure enemies feel it over time. Her lantern isn't just for decoration. It zaps, slows, and even yeets enemies into the air like they just stepped on a banana peel. And when she pops her ultimate, Crimson Beacon, it's like flipping the switch on a bug zapper, except the bugs are enemy heroes, and they're getting absolutely fried. With the right positioning, Jushin doesn't just control fights, she orchestrates them, turning the battlefield into her personal light show of destruction. Harith isn't just a mage, he's a hyperactive menace that bounces around the battlefield like he's had 3 energy drinks too many. His passive, Key Insight, gives him 7% hybrid lifesteal for each nearby enemy hero, which basically means the more enemies around, the harder he is to kill. Good luck with that. His first skill, Synchro Vision, dishes out solid AoE damage, but his real magic trick is Chrono Dash. This skill lets him zip around like a discount time traveler, buffing his next basic attack and slapping a shield on himself. And the best part, if he lands that enhanced attack, the cooldown gets reduced, meaning he can just keep dashing like he's playing tag with the enemy team. But the real nightmare begins when he drops Zaman Force, his ultimate. This ultimate creates a rift that basically turns Harith into a skill-spamming machine. While inside, his first and second skills get reduced cooldowns, letting him cycle through them like a DJ on fast forward, dishing out damage, dodging attacks, and stacking shields non-stop. If played right, he's like a boss fight that just won't end, slipping through enemy hands while making their HP bars disappear. Cecilian isn't just a mage, he's a late-game horror story. The longer the game drags on, the harder he hits, and before you know it, he's chunking half your HP bar with a single spell. His damage scales with mana, which means the more he hoards, the deadlier he becomes. Like a greedy banker, but with blood magic. His first skill, Blood Fiend, has insane range, letting him poke enemies from a distance like an annoying mosquito, except this mosquito hits like a truck. His second skill, Sanguine Claws, is a nightmare for enemies who like to move around freely. It drags them together and holds them in place, setting them up for a good old-fashioned magical beatdown. And then there's his ultimate, Bat's Feast, which, despite the fancy name, basically turns him into a runaway freak train. He gains bonus movement speed and starts rapid firing blood bolts at enemies, slowing them down while he zooms around like he's got somewhere better to be. Alice isn't just a mage, she's a full-blown vampire queen with unlimited energy and a serious thirst for chaos. Thanks to her passive, Blood Ancestry, she basically never runs out of mana, letting her spam skills like she's got an unlimited data plan. Her first skill, Flowing Blood, is a long-range projectile that not only deals damage but also lets her teleport to its location upon recasting. That means she can poke enemies from a distance or suddenly appear right in front of their faces like a jump scare from a horror movie. And then there's her ultimate, Blood's Feast, the move that turns her into an unkillable menace. She drains HP from every enemy in range, making her ridiculously hard to take down while she trolls around like she's at a goth-themed ballet. Zask isn't just a mage, he's basically that one annoying house guest who refuses to leave. His nightmare spawn is like an overpowered turret that constantly harasses enemies, making farming feel like a survival horror game. Once it's out, opponents either have to deal with it or risk getting melted while trying to mind their own business. But the real fun begins with his ultimate, Dominator's Descent, where he fuses with his spawn and goes full kaiju mode. The supercharged version fires a massive energy beam that disintegrates anything unlucky enough to be in its path. And if things go south, no worries, Zask can eject like a panicked pilot, abandoning his spawn while he scurries away to safety. Estes isn't just a healer, he's basically the team's walking, talking hospital. His ultimate is what makes him truly busted. With Blessing of the Moon Goddess, he doesn't just heal his allies once, oh no, he keeps topping them up like an all-you-can-eat buffet of HP, as long as they stay within range. Got a teammate who keeps diving 1v5? No problem. Estes will keep them alive just long enough to almost regret their decisions. His presence alone can turn teamfights into an absolute nightmare for enemies who thought they had secured a kill, only to watch their targets get patched up like nothing happened. Kalia isn't just a hero, she's a walking, talking, you shall not move sign. Her crowd control is downright frustrating, and if you ever find yourself in the receiving end of her second skill or ultimate, just accept your fate. Both of these skills lock down enemies so well that they might as well start filing out AFK reports on themselves. In teamfights, she turns the battlefield into her own personal playground, keeping enemies slowed, knocked airborne, or just generally regretting their life choices. Combine that with her survivability, and she's basically that one uninvited guest at a party who refuses to leave. Except, instead of awkward small talk, she's dishing out relentless CC left and right. Lolita isn't just a tank, she's a walking nope button for enemy projectiles. Her Guardian's Reflection basically tells Marksmen and Mages, try again, but worse, as their attack bounce right off. Her power charge is the ultimate get over here move, closing gaps and stunning enemies who thought they were safe. And her ultimate, oh boy, it's like dropping a meteor on the battlefield. Wide area, devastation that slows, stuns, and make enemies question their positioning choices. If you see Lolita winding up that hammer, you either run away or accept your fate as a human highlight reel. Florin is basically the team's personal medic, but with a magical twist. She doesn't just heal, she hands out bonus stats like a generous grandma slipping you cash. Thanks to her passive, she grants an extra equipment to an ally, making them even stronger. Because who doesn't love free power-up, right? But her real flex is her ultimate, a global heal that instantly patches up her entire team no matter where they are. Got a teammate 5 feet away? Healed. Another one across the map deep in enemy jungle? also healed, and if that wasn't enough, she gives temporary immunity to life bane effects, making her enemies scream, "Why don't they just die?" Florin isn't just a healer, she's a walking, "Not today, Satan." Carmilla isn't your average support. She's the kind of hero who thrives in chaos and loves making enemies suffer together. Thanks to her durability, she can wade into fights like she owns the place, but her real party trick? Curse of Blood. This skill doesn't just annoy one enemy, it links multiple poor souls together, forcing them to share everything like an awkward group project. Slows? Shared. Stuns? Shared. Damage? Oh yeah, that too. Shared. The moment she drops her ultimate, enemies go from independent warriors to synchronized suffering squad. And the best part, her team gets to swoop in and clean up while the enemy side collectively regrets their life choices. Hanzo is basically that one horror movie villain who never lets you rest. Thanks to his ultimate Kinjutsu, he literally yeets his soul out of his body and starts zooming around the battlefield like a possessed shadow demon. Walls? Irrelevant. Distance? A minor inconvenience. In this form, his first and second skills get a terrifying upgrade, letting him dash, blink, and delete squishies before they even realize what hit them. And the best, or I guess the worst part, his real body just chills in a safe spot. Untargetable like he's on a spa break, while his ghost form commits absolute war crimes. If things get dicey, he can just snap back to reality. No consequences, no regrets. Joy isn't just an assassin, she's a hyperactive, rhythm-powered menace. With electrifying beats, she literally dances around the battlefield, shrugging off debuffs like they're bad vibes and completely ignoring slow effects as if they never existed. Trying to catch her? Good luck. By the time you blink, she's already zipping around, spamming skills, and hitting you with a musical beatdown. And if you thought dodging her was an option, spoiler alert, it's not. She's basically the embodiment of fast, furious, and unbothered. Hayabusa isn't just an assassin, he's a shadowy nightmare with a teleportation addiction. His ultimate, Shadow Kill, doesn't just let him slice through enemies at lightning speed, it also makes him temporarily untouchable, because why fight fair when you can disappear mid-battle? With his ability to mark enemies and deal extra pain, he specializes in singling out high-priority targets and deleting them from existence. 1 second you're farming peacefully, the next you're watching the defeat screen, wondering where it all went wrong. Fanny is basically Spider-Man but with swords. Her cable mechanics let her zoom across the map like she's late for a flight, making her one of the sleepiest and deadliest heroes in the game. She doesn't walk, she soars. She dives, she deletes enemies before they even realize what hit them. But don't get too confident. Miss a cable and you'll go from high-flying menace to an energy-deprived sitting duck faster than you can say need backup. Suyu is basically two heroes in one, because why settle for one playstyle when you can have double the chaos? He effortlessly flips between two distinct forms, keeping enemies on their toes and allies wondering, wait, which form is he in again? His kit is packed with devastating AoE damage, annoying crowd control, and mobility that lets him zoom around like he's got places to be. Whether he's wrecking teams with raw power or slipping through fights like a ninja, one thing is for sure, trying to predict his next move is like trying to herd cats. Which heroes do you think will dominate in Season 36? Drop your predictions in the comments. Thanks a ton for watching and we'll catch you in the next one. Stay awesome, stay legendary, and peace out.